To My Derelict Favorite. Chapter 3. Caelus' invitation arrived quickly. Inside the gilded letter, it was written in colorful handwriting, "I grant permission to attend." There was a smirk and laughter. The real fight begins now. He's shameless, too. They don't even think about how much they left Caelus out, and how can they tell their close friends who tried to kill themselves on their wedding day, "There is a person who pretended to be your wife, so find out." As Diana chose Caelus, Caelus lost his lifelong best friend and his first love at once. While you were having a wedding and flirting, my abandoned favorite was wandering in despair. The ladies did their best to help me dress up again. This is the first visit to the imperial palace as a marquis wife. I burned into my soul so that I wouldn't fall for the crown princess, who is known for her beauty. Oh. To be honest, I've really gotten a lot prettier. I thanked my comrades for their hard work. It's great. I love it. Everyone worked hard. Don't mention it, Hestia. Still, it is not as good as Diana. I can't dare to rub the best beauty of this world against a natural being. I entered the palace in a large private carriage dedicated to the marquis. When the attendant who followed me presented an invitation, I could easily pass through the magnificent main gate. I moved to the residence of the crown prince and his wife. Following the imperial attendant who came to meet me, I arrived at the drawing room, which was a bit strange considering the brilliant simple image of Diana. Soon it's time to face the couple who are the main characters of the original story. My heart fluttered. A different pleasure from the days when I only read novels. Your Highnesses are here. I rose quietly from my seat at the solemn voice of the imperial court. I bowed politely in front of the two people who appeared. To the little sun and the little moon of the great empire, Hestia, the Marchioness, greets you. The noble manner of Roe fan fiction, it was very natural even to me. Get up. A response was heard after a moment of silence, as if in a moment's panic, they didn't know that the person they thought was a fraud was real. I straightened my bent body with a confident smile. Beautiful faces, so finally, I have no choice but to express that my eyes are really happy. Inside the wall and inside the gold eye staring at me. My face glows with joy. Your Highness, I have taken my husband's response to your letter. Please accept it. I held out a letter politely. Husband. The voice of Caelus in wonder. Laughter came out of me. Yes, that's right. He sat down, ripping open the envelope roughly. Diana sat down, and then I could sit in a chair. Diana kept looking at me without saying a word. It's kind of embarrassing. Is there a reason to look at me? Since my face turned red, I talked to her shyly. Oh, it's so beautiful even when I look at it again. The main character of this world is made to be nice and pretty. After a moment's hesitation, she opened her mouth. I feel familiar with you. Oh. Did you remember? I purposely gave a big laugh. Diana looked at me with stunned eyes. I have seen you separately when you were in the temple. At that time, the saintess used her power to heal me. Oh. Diana nodded as if she understood at last. Even if she didn't remember it specifically, the impression that I had left once seems to have remained unconscious. Caelus glanced at us, and grunted and muttered. Caelus' handwriting is real. Show me, too. Helly. Diana took the letter from Caelus' hand. That's true. The two were close enough to recognize the handwriting at a glance. But now that's an old saying, too. Suddenly, a corner of my heart ached. My voice became sharp without realizing it. Caelus was confident that both of you would believe in his handwriting, but unfortunately he was wrong. Because you two still doubt me. Helios' golden eyes poked at me. Cael, as far as I know, would never get married like this. You don't trust my husband's handwritten letter? But it's true. The carriage I rode to the palace was certainly the Marquis carriage, and I even brought my marriage certificate here. I protested in a complaining tone. To be honest, they didn't even have to check the marriage certificate. Helios and Diana just want to deny that I'm the spouse of Caelus. His heart was full of cynicism, but he hid it without revealing it. Diana said sternly, I heard you robbed the temple of its land by threatening. How did you do such a thing with the title of Marchioness? What do you mean robbing, Your Highness? Is that what the minister said? It's not like that at all. I reasonably persuaded them to take it back. Helios gave me a cold rebuttal. If that coherent persuasion was a threat to anyone, it should be called a threat. Then is it natural that the land that Caelus gave directly to the crown princess during pilgrimage time belonged to the temple? It's right to say it's extortion using position. Diana took a big, catchy breath. However, she did somehow refute it. The godly retainer cannot own private property. Therefore, all possessions of the new building and the temple belong to God. The temple didn't rob me of my property. Oh, that's how you come out. Then I have something to say. If everything is in God's possession, why does the crown princess use the wonderful power God has given her only for one particular family called the imperial family? Is it really right for God's will? Then Helios' eyes became icy. Keep your tongue in your mouth, Hestia. That imperative tone is very intrusive. But I'm still in a position to bow down. I quickly lowered my posture. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I remembered the past. Just before returning, when I was sick to death, I ran to the temple and prayed to let me see the saint at least once, but I was rejected. With the saying that the saintess has no time to deal with such a mean thing as me. Only a few days have passed since Diana was crowned crown princess in this life, but I have yet to be told that she has treated the people as a saint. In other words, her life is going the same as before her return. In other words, there is no longer a woman who puts the common people before anyone else. There is only Princess Diana, who reigns over all. Her ideas may still remain the same, but her appearance has disappeared. The saint is no longer with the common people. Instead, in her present position, she will concentrate on teaching and admonishing the arrogant nobles she hated so much. Instead of using God's power to heal those who have hurt their bodies and minds, she will wield her status and power gained by her husband without regret. Anyway, Helios seemed to have decided not to complain about my swift apology. Instead, he turned the attack around. What the hell did you do to become a Marchioness? From what I can see, the wedding date is the day after the wedding of Diana and I. It was an expected question. I smiled deeply. Are you surprised that your friend was able to get married so quickly and easily? But the process of marriage between a man and a woman is really diverse, and you don't necessarily have to have a fiery love like your highnesses. Helios immediately got defensive. It sounds like you're lecturing us. Oh, you're mistaken. I apologize if it sounded like that. As fast as I can, I lowered my posture. That way, I won't find unnecessary criticism. Anyway, today's topic is not about my personal life. For the conversation you want, I'll turn the subject back to the land return. Then does the Crown Prince want to donate the land that the Marquis clearly withdrew from his intention to donate to the temple? Don't hide behind Helios in a cowardly way and you come out and tell me, Diana. I don't want to give. He withdrew it? She asked back, her eyes wide open. It is worthwhile to choose and express words on purpose. You're not very stupid. Our heroine. Yes, I'm in front of you, so I'll be honest with you. Isn't it none other than your highness that he donated it to? As the whole world knows, Caelus adores you very much. Exclamation point. Diana's sea-like eyes shook violently. You criticized Caelus for giving poison tea to Princess Latona, the wicked woman, and now you're sad? Helios also shut up this time. These two suddenly made a mockery of each other. There's no reason to donate to a temple where that doesn't have a saint, right? My husband also had no objection to taking back the family's wealth. If you don't want Caelus to continue to be bound by his old love, you should also agree with my actions. There seemed to be no real answer. Well, what can you say to me? Unless Caelus wants to never forget Diana, she should also tolerate his actions to clean up the past. As a spouse married to the Marquis, I do my part for the family. For example, after deliberately taking a break, I spoke slowly. To put the property back to its original state, which was wasted meaninglessly by a moment's emotion. Exclamation point. Diana's eyes burst into flames. Did I press the button when I said meaningless? Did I do anything wrong? I asked inwardly. If I'm wrong, explain what the hell Caelus' love for you meant, Diana. While the two were quiet, I continued in a gentle tone. I'm not blaming you two for my husband's past. Of course it's a lie. I just look at everything from a very common third-party position outside your personal relationship. Your Highness the Crown Prince, and Your Highness the Crown Princess. I beg you to understand my true intentions. Diana and Helios will not be able to refute. You realize that, don't you? If you don't want a pathetic love triangle to continue after marriage, you should stop saying "give me the land back." With the meaning of ending the story here, I clapped my hands lightly. Oh, and there's another decisive reason why Caelus married me. That is, I also have a special ability like Her Majesty the Princess. What do you mean special ability? Helios responded immediately. Oh, look at this. I looked straight into the golden eyes. He opened his mouth with a smile. I can see the future. But it's not complete. I don't know everything in detail like God. Whoa. Exclamation point. Helios was suspicious, and Diana reacted with surprise. And there's also a question that will naturally pop up at this point. It's obvious. So you know our future? Helios question. Yes. This is it. He nodded loudly. Of course I know. But I can't tell you right now. If I open my mouth recklessly, the future of someone I didn't think of could be distorted. The two people's expressions showed distrust and regret at the same time. So I decided to give you a hint. If you have any doubts about my ability, I can tell you one thing right away. All right. Tell me. Helios' permission quickly referred to an event prior to regression. In a few days, the great thief, which caused a stir in the Yellow Sea, will finally be arrested. Just wait and you'll see soon enough. He replied in an irascible tone. Okay. We'll see. Then, Diana's voice was heard. Why did you marry him? Because you saw some future in him? A sudden question, two pairs of eyes fixed on me. Well, it's not quite unexpected. I answered with a serious look. Yes, I entered the Marquis because I read about a very terrible future, as His Majesty said. I'll do anything to prevent that disaster. Can you tell me what that terrible future is? I shook his head quietly at Helios' question. I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that. I could let them know that on their happiest day, Caelus tried to kill himself. But the incident itself is very painful for Caelus. I can't say it first, unless he confides in it himself. This is about the honor of Cael. Helios kicked his tongue as if he had lingering feelings. Is that so? But you don't have to worry right away. I'm doing my best. If I have to tell you both, I will do so without delay. Then suddenly he lowered his voice and looked around him and said, but I just want you two to know about my abilities. If it's widely known, it's going to get in trouble in many ways. It's not a power that the whole world can know like your Royal Highness. The end of the sentence trailed and Diana looked at me significantly. It contains some kind of innermost thoughts. You're not the only one that's special. It's the same for me now. The chilly voice of Helios flew in. Well, we'll know in a few days whether your abilities are real or not. The prophecy must be true. Otherwise, I'll make you pay for being deceitful. Why not, Your Highness? The finish was decorated with a deep smile of eyes. Contrary to me, the stiff expressions are very impressive. I rose from my seat and was courteous towards the great and noble crown prince couple who will rule this country in the future. Then I'll leave now. Until I see you again, I hope you stay strong. I went to the palace on behalf of Caelus, so I deserved to report the whole story to him. As soon as I got home, I told my butler Euros that I wanted to see Caelus, and soon my permission was granted. Straightened up, he carefully knocked on Cael's bedroom door. Marquis, this is Hestia. Come on in. A dry response. I quickly opened the door and went in. My favorite was scattered across the sofa. It's breathtakingly picturesque, but I managed to breathe calmly for now. I want to tell you about my visit to the Imperial Palace. Sit down there. Then Caelus got up and sat on his back. But a languid posture that is about to flow down. Besides, there was no cup on the table. It seemed to be because it was made of pottery, and if it was broken, it could be used as a tool for self-harm. I was deeply impressed by the attentiveness of the servants. Wistful look and glazed eyes. I doubt you're really ready to listen to me. Anyway, I started reporting plainly. It's not much different from what you're guessing. He really confirmed that I was the Marquis' spouse, and he asked me to hand over the land back to the temple. Aha! He nodded without emotion. Your Highness and Crown Princess barely believe in me. Even though I showed him the Marquis letter, he still wanted to deny it. Caelus shut up firmly. I thought suddenly. Would he want to deny it now? The fact that Diana couldn't be his now. I continued as I insisted on the rising mood. When I was told to return the land to the temple, I explained that I had withdrawn my intention to donate it because its usage was gone. The usage has disappeared. I heard Caelus murmuring after me, but he continued. The Marquis made clear his intention at the time of donating the land to the temple. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you, but I've based it on your Highness. What did she say? Somehow the voice is sad. My heart aches when I talk. You understand. Both your Highnesses. Yes. What flowed out in a sigh was the yearning and coldness tangled in his heart. I tried to control my emotions that were coming up. And I've also been tipped off about my abilities. I have told the Crown Prince, who is doubtful, that he will be captured in a few days. Oh, the thief who used to steal only the precious things from the banquet hall? For the first time in a long time, his voice was enchanted. Yes, that's right. That's great. A dry tone of voice again, Caelus added indifference in that tone. I've heard your story. Get out of here. Yes, Marquis. I suppressed my thumping heart and bowed with respect. Oh, my. Oh, my. What do I do? I came back to my room and stamped my feet, rolling around on the bed. Did you hear that? Caelus called me you. Before that, it was just her. Ha ha ha. Oh, my. I love it. It's really nothing, it might be nothing, but for me, it's the same event as heaven and earth opening up. If you've ever been a fan of someone, you'll agree. Even these minor changes come in a tremendous sense. Oh, my God, Caelus said you to me. I buried my face in the pillow and was giggling, and suddenly I heard a knock. I quickly stopped laughing, and I hope my expression looked like that, and responded with a nonchalant gesture. Come on in. It was also Euros who opened the door and appeared. He looked at me and tilted his head for a moment. You look red. Do you have a fever? It's because it's suddenly hot. It's nothing. Oh, that's a relief. I was relieved that the other person quickly understood. I'm here to deliver a letter to Hestia. A letter to me? I've never exchanged enough letters with anyone, so what's going on? I opened it quickly. The Countess of Erinis sent it to the Marquis to see how she heard the news. Euros' tone was relatively calm. The work that I've dug up the temple seems to have already spread rapidly throughout society. Everyone must be so curious. Who is the person who took over the land document after making Daishin shocked with a few words? Hestia, do you know what Countess Erinis is like? Overall, but I've never met her in person. Because I wasn't an active socialite. So, Euros, I need your help. I told my situation honestly and asked for help. The butler nodded as if not to worry. You can say anything. Lady Hestia, please introduce a teacher who is well versed in aristocratic etiquette and is well versed in social affairs. If I want to be active in social activities, I have to prepare thoroughly from now on. Once you learn etiquette, you'll be comfortable with the maid, Clarice. She's worked in a noble family for more than 30 years. And if you're looking for a socialite, the salon's Madame Harmonia is the best. I'll put the fire out first. Oh! That's great. Please. After the butler went out, I read the letter of Countess Erinis with great care. The content was just. I am sorry that I just learned of the existence of the Marchioness with a strong will, so I want to share refreshments and build a friendship. Ha. It's annoying. When I was an extra, I only had to follow the banquet and see the three main characters from afar, so I didn't have to learn manners. I've actively jumped into the flow of this world, so I have a lot to do. But it's okay. For the sake of Caelus. Of course, it takes this much effort to make Diana and Helios kneel, who tore his heart apart. Subscribe, like and share for more chapters and novels every day.